Well, happy Tuesday, Magellan members. Hope you're doing well today. Hope yesterday you got off to a great start this week. I was talking to one of our members during one of our ACA calls yesterday, Brian, and he brought up a great point that I want to remind and share with all of you here today. It really talks about, buying patterns, decision-making patterns, influence patterns, if you will. And remember, there's a lot of different decision-making syntaxes. But one of the main one I want to talk about today, I want to draw upon today, is what we call moving towards versus moving away. So what's a moving towards versus a moving away syntax? It basically means this. Is a person more motivated to do something, to take action on the concept of gaining something? On the concept of gain, so think positive, right? So moving towards something that's positive, that they want, that they visualize, right? And versus a moving away strategy, which is what we're calling negative strategy, which is to avoid something, not to lose something. And the reality is we're both, right? So it's like if I'm over here moving towards and I'm moving away, there's a spectrum in between. But all of us have what we'll call a dominant style, a dominant one, like left hand versus right hand, right? We both use both hands, but one's our dominant hand in most cases. So in this style, what you've got to do for your team members / employees, for your prospects, for your clients, you need to ascertain by listening how they explain things to you, where they are on the quote unquote spectrum, right? So for example, if you got a team member and you've got let's say you've got a strategy where you've got a lot of bonuses. So hey, you do this, we get bonuses, but yet your team members are not hitting their bonuses. They're not doing well because they're not going after it. If you have a bonus structure and then some what we'll call some accountability. So look, if you don't do some things, here's not being fired, but here's an adverse impact for you, right? That will give you both kind of moving towards and moving away. When you're dealing with prospects, and if you're sitting there painting great pictures, like, we're going to do this for you, and we're going to put this financial plan together for you, and we're going to invest, and, here's how we're going to serve you, and it's wonderful, 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 right? And yet you wonder why, and yet they're not saying yes. They're not signing up. They're not taking you up on your offer. Well, why would that be? Because they're not entirely a moving towards processor. What you need to do is not only say all the wonderful things you get, but then you also have to put this in there. And by doing this, you're going to avoid not knowing, you're going to avoid the fees, you're going to avoid being ignored by your current advisor, and you've got to create some pain points, some negative points. You need to have both. You need to kind of go move towards and move away. Same thing with clients. When you're in the client situation and you're making a recommendation for a change, right? Or maybe we need to take on a new project. Maybe it's a long-term care project or an estate planning project. And you sit there and you paint all these wonderful pictures, right? Of everything we're going to do. Here's everything we're going to do, and you have all these wonderful things and clarity and certainty and control over how your money is going to be gifted and all that. Yet they don't do it. You've got to go to the other side, right? Which is, hey, if you don't do this, let me, as your advisor, let me tell you why we need to do this. Moving towards, and let me explain what happens if you don't do this. Moving away, moving away, moving away, moving away. And you've got to put those negative impacts out there. So in the case of estate planning, hey, do you want the government being in control of what happens? Do you want to not have clarity? Do you want to not take care of the things? How would you know, passing on, that you didn't do things that you wanted to do, and now it's out of your control, right? You've got to be able to balance both those parts. So what we have to do as advisors, as a people, by the way, this works for children, spouses, friends, family, whole 9 yards, right? This is human being 101 here. What we need to do is be cognizant that rarely is somebody on one side of the spectrum or on the other side of the spectrum. Take a balanced approach. Heaven, hell, pain, pleasure, right? All those terms, remember them as you're presenting ideas, strategies, projects, tasking. Make sure we're using a very, very balanced approach. Most of the time, let's face it, we're busy. We kind of get caught up in just doing. And what you need to do is say, hey, not only do we need to do this for this scenario, but here's what we're going to avoid. So keep a balanced approach. Remember, decision-making syntaxes. And then for you Magellan members, I'll see you tomorrow on our new workplace, where I'm going to be doing every day a morning video just for you.